Well, hello, everyone. I am so happy to be sitting here with the amazing Jerry Slusky. He is the founder and the chairman of the CRE Summit, but you also have your own law practice. You've been doing that for years. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, but I just want to say welcome, Jerry, and thank you for having a conversation with me today.
Delighted to be here with you, Andy.
All right, so I've got some talking points here, but I'm just going to, as I introduce you, attorney Jerry Slusky has been practicing real estate law in Nebraska for over 50 years. I find that so hard to believe on some levels, but not so much. You're such a kind of a force here in our community, and you've been developing your own commercial real estate for over 40 years. You're also the founder and chairman of the Commercial Real Estate Summit, the CRE Summit, which is now in its 33rd consecutive year. So first of all, congratulations on that. And we're looking at an exciting event coming up here in April.
Really exciting this year. And if I may, Andy, tell you why we think it's exciting and why we think it's a very important 33rd year for our commercial real estate professionals. This year, unlike the last 8 or 9 years, when after the Great Recession, commercial real estate and actually all business has been sailing along and doing very, very well. And stock market's up, and commercial real estate development is up all across the country and probably the world. Of course, now we're facing some headwinds. And our planning committee over the winter detected that, kind of knew some things that were coming. We have a group of 35 CRE professionals in the lending industry, developers, architects, engineers, title insurance, lawyers, brokers, and they coalesce in a few meetings and get to the essence of what's going on in commercial real estate. And what's happened since we really put together a program in maybe March is that it's even the headwinds have gotten stronger. Let's put it that way. And when I say that, obviously I'm alluding to interest rate increases, which are really the Bible for commercial real estate. And you're probably hearing for single family homes right now slowing down. Mortgage applications are down, and you can take that same set of facts and apply it to commercial real estate. So this year's program, Andy, is geared to the changes being undertaken in commercial real estate. And it's really all facets of commercial real estate and the changes impacting those. So it's an important year for our industry to get together and learn from one another. That's our whole purpose, to learn from one another. We don't go outside for education, we educate ourselves. And I think in 33 years, it's been very helpful, let me put it that way, for our community, for Lincoln, and for the state of Nebraska.
Yeah, and I mean, and I'll add, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you look at, first of all, the US or the world as a whole. There are things happening, but there are things unique happening in our neck of the woods, so to speak, in the Midwest that people need to be aware of. They might be happening across the board, but we've got a unique situation, I think, here in Omaha as well.
We do, and we all know over the years we've talked about recessions going up and down, and Omaha and Lincoln and Nebraska seem to float through these, and that's good. That's good to know. But if you're sitting today in an engineering firm in Omaha and you've been working 40 plus hours a week and you've been looking for staff for the last 8 years, and all of a sudden things slow down and the phones quit ringing because interest rates are high, construction costs are high, then you get concerned for your own livelihood in your own business.
Well, again, this event coming up it's the 26th of August or the 25th?
26th, right.
The 26th, okay. So let's talk, I want to kind of dive into like what's happening this year. without, giving too much away, because the event itself is like, it's so amazing. But you've got a great keynote speaker coming in.
We're
Let's
very
talk.
excited.
Yeah.
So with the so-called the changing world of commercial real estate, we looked for a speaker who deals with change and can help our professionals deal with the changes that are going on.
Mhm.
And this woman's name is Amelia Earhart.
Yeah.
Yes, it is
Yep.
really Amelia Earhart, and it's not a relative or anything, but she comes from a flying family, and she herself was in the Air Force and a very talented pilot. And she tells some stories about her piloting, of how when you get into trouble as a pilot, you should, be aware of change and be ready to adapt to those changes.
Yeah.
And that is what she is going to talk about over lunch as our keynote speaker. And she is a delight. We got her on a phone call the other day, a Zoom call, and she will be terrific. And I will bet you we have a lot of high regard for her.
I know, absolutely. I'm personally really excited to listen to her, and what a great topic, because as you know, my father was a pilot, and he's told me many stories. You have to just be ready for change, regardless of the good, the bad, and the ugly. It doesn't matter. You have to be, you just got to be able to navigate through that to
Right.
get through it. Let's talk a little bit about the theme this year, and also kind of some of the breakouts that you have, because it's, to me, what's been going on and kind of what you're doing this year. I mean, every year is great, but this year I think is, like, as you said earlier, I mean, it's just so much more powerful.
Yeah, let me give you some examples of some of the changes going on, just to give you a flavor of the conference.
Sure.
First of all, our opening full session panel is going to talk about the changes going on in the office world again.
Yeah.
This seems to be like a paradigm shift that is stuck now in our civilization and our culture, with people not wanting to come back or enjoying staying home, or companies allowing them to stay home. And we're going to dig into that a little bit more this year. We have some really top-notch speakers on that.
Mm-hmm.
And coupled with that are some very good architects and design firms who are talking about how companies are revising the interior of their offices to deal with the stay-at-home portion of their workforce. So It should be very, very interesting. Secondly, we have an interest rate panel of 4 lenders. And I do want to mention this. We have the top people from Mutual Omaha, Pinnacle Bank, Great Southern Bank, and Northmark. These compose really the food, or the 4 food parts of lending. And they're going to share what's going on with the lenders. What are their attitudes about deals now at 5% and 6% versus 3.5% or 4%? Are deals slowing down? Or is the underwriting more difficult to get a deal done? So I think in 45 minutes, the attendees of this conference will know quite a bit about what the lenders are thinking. And that's a really critical factor.
Yeah. And also, let's talk a little bit. I want to just touch on, before time's up, the Hall of Famers. Every year you induct people into kind of this Hall of Fame, the CRE Hall of Fame, which is a really prestigious place to be. And you've got, I'm actually, I'm looking at you, but I'm also looking at our layout that's going to be out on Friday the 22nd, but looking at the people that are going to be in this Hall of Fame group of people that you've had. So do you want to say a little bit about that?
Sure. And first of all, you're right. If you go back and we print the history of our Hall of Fame and show all the inductees over the 15 or so years we've been doing it, about 60 people. And if you look at those 60, you'll find people who were really instrumental in growing our community and making it more successful. This year is no different. A lot of people know Brenda Dooley. She's run the facilities for First National Bank. Kurt Hofer, a major league developer, home builder. Kevin Rhodes is a Lincoln gentleman who has left his mark, so to speak, down there. And Mark Westergaard from E&A Engineering, who for his whole career, and he and I are about the same age, has developed a very significant number of subdivisions in Omaha, mainly home subdivision, residential subdivision. Yeah, so it's another good group. You have engineer, you have a lender, you have a facilities manager and developer. So we don't think it gets much better.
Absolutely. And then I'm also going to mention, because when people actually see this conversation between you and me, this interview with us, MBJ would have been out probably 5 days ago. So, but we're in the process of getting it out. So at that time, you're announcing the deal and development of the year winners, and they've been named. And those are also important people in this community that are changing literally the landscape, the skyline of the Omaha community and what happens here. And also in Lincoln too. So you want to talk a little bit to that?
Yeah, let's talk about Lincoln first, because you're right. Sure. It's changed the aura and downtown of Lincoln. The Lead Center is a very tall condo deal. Yeah, very impressive deal. The other one for Lincoln this year is a cancer center from the Bryan Health Center down there, a major addition and a lease here. I'm sure that most people know about John Lund's deal at the former Kiewit building, now the Blackstone Tower. And what he's done to convert that into a beautiful building is getting the deal of the year. And the development of the year for Omaha is Jason Fisher's Farnham Hotel, former office building, still part office, now part hotel, but a gorgeous conversion. And you're right, Andy. All four of these have contributed mightily to both of these markets.
Yeah. And they're just four more people in the line of so many more that have been recognized before them as well. At this conference, at this summit. So, and the summit, it is a summit. It's you arrive in the morning, you have the keynote, and then like I always love, you say, at 3:00 or sometime around that time, it's time to continue the celebration elsewhere or whatnot. So,
well, let's call it a major networking event.
Yes. Okay.
Just happens to take place across the street at the Capitol District and one of their fine establishments. And I might add, it is truly networking, because almost everybody, our 700 last year, almost all of them came over, and everybody stayed till 5:30. It was a ball, and people tell me they got deals done. So that's what it's about.
Yeah. And I have a feeling your attendance is gonna grow this year, because last year we were still kind of it's not that we're completely out of it, but we're still kind of in crisis mode, if I can use that word, with the pandemic. And this year people are opening up and getting back together in somewhat a little larger capacity, but also just the whole celebration. And like you said, networking. This event is so important to the networking community, the CRE, which includes so many different industries. It's amazing.
Yeah, and thank you to MBJ and you. We already have signed up a record number of pre-registration.
Awesome.
We're close to 600. Last year we had 700 total. So there's a lot of interest. We hit our record in 19 pre-COVID at 950. I don't think the CHI Health Center can hold more than 1,000. So I might tell the people listening, they better get signed up, or maybe they'll get shut out.
You know what? I think that's good advice for everybody wanting to be at this. And basically when is the dead done ticket sale cut off?
The week of August 26th, we'll cut it off about 3 days before. Okay. But I sincerely do encourage people to sign up
Yeah.
now, not just because it's the thing to do, but because they're really going to learn. It's going to
Yep.
help their careers. And I think you're just going to take away an awful lot of good information.
Yeah. Well, Jerry, anything else that you'd like to add before I let you go?
I think you've covered it. I appreciate it very much.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you. And thank you for being the visionary that started this. I know you have a great team and have so for the last 33 years, but it takes that little brainchild that somebody's like, what is possible with this, that then starts to put it into motion to actually happen. So I just want to thank you for that.
Thank you. We're delighted to put it on.
Yeah. All right. Well, I will see you on the 26th, and I hope everybody who's watching this, we will see you on the 26th as well at the CHI Health Center. And yeah, it's gonna be a great day. So thanks again, Jerry.
Thank you again. Take care.
Well, I'm excited to be talking to Kelsey Ritter. She is the Senior Director of Development for Omaha Home for Boys. Kelsey, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Andy.
So, I mean, I know we've talked a lot over the last, honestly, year and a half with everything of COVID and the pandemic about the 100th anniversary that finally we had the event in March, correct?
Correct, yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was a long process. So exciting. I mean, 100 years of any nonprofit organization is so much to celebrate. But we're going to be talking here about the back to school supply drive, which is so important to the people that you serve, the young people you serve, going to college. And let's just first talk about Omaha Home for Boys and who do you serve and the mission of the organization.
Yeah, for sure. So Omaha Home for Boys, as you mentioned, has been in our community for over 100 years, which is spectacular. And we hope that we're a pillar of strength in the community as well. And so each year we serve over 1,300 youth and young adults, just working with them on where they are and how to get to that next level. So whether it's meeting their basic needs of helping them find food and housing, or whether it is helping connect them with scholarships and vital documents and how they can get to that next step in their education. So we really, meet them where they're at and just try to take them to the next level through our different programs.
Yeah. So let's talk about the school supply drive, because I mean, it in its name, the school supply drive. So we're talking about supplies for the most part. And what are these supplies that are needed for them to just get started and have the essentials that they need as they're moving on in their life?
Yeah, so the school supply drive is really aimed at high school as well as those young adults who are going into the next step of their education as well. Okay. So on the school supply list, you're going to see folders and notebooks and backpacks and all those regular school supplies, you might see on that high school list that are going to benefit kids that are, youth that are out in the community going to the schools, but also the youth that are in our programs right now going to the OHB school. So you're going to see items such as those on the list. Now, you're also going to see some dorm room essentials. So for kids who are, heading off into college or that kind of next step in their education career, we have some of those dorm room essentials that can just help them get started as well. And the whole goal from this is really so we can provide these youth and young adults everything, the tools that they need to be able to start their school year and feel that they're confident and productive and be able to, release some of that financial burden from them as well.
And so when people are looking at these supplies, and thank you, I mean, I kind of mentioned college, but yes, absolutely, high schoolers, because there are things that they need and they can't either afford them or their families, can't afford them. And it gives them the, just like you said, what they need to be successful. And so how do we get these to you? How do we get there? How do we get these to you?
How do you get involved, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can go to ohb.org, our website, and we actually have a list of items on there that we're looking for. And so some people choose to shop on their own and, contact us and drop things off. Otherwise, we try to make it pretty simple and we put together an Amazon wish list. And so you can go straight on to Amazon and order what you need to, and they'll actually be shipped straight to us. So we try to make it as easy as it can be for everybody.
Yeah. And I'm kind of glancing over here because I am on your website. And one of the things about shopping on the Amazon wish list, especially if you're like a family and you want to do this together as a group, I mean, writing a check cash is always great. But this is almost something where you can get involved. And so you can go through and your kids can help you pick out stuff. And it just makes it, I think, a little more special, and also instills in them the importance of kind of that personal aspect of, hey, we're buying this, we're choosing this and selecting this for somebody that is going to make a huge difference.
Yeah, for sure. And so when people are out, getting their own school supplies, they can pick up some extra and, drop them off with us. We have organizations that are doing drives at their companies and then arranging a drop-off date with us. So however anybody wants to do it, we will find a way to get people involved for sure.
Yeah. And I'm glad you mentioned that from a company aspect too, is that if you own a company or you're working whatever for a company, this is a great initiative to have, because you're collecting these items between July 22nd through August 2nd. And that's where people can either drop them off or go on Amazon or whatnot. Because if you go on Amazon, you don't need to drop them off. But some people actually may want to go shopping at Target or Walmart or wherever to pick these things up. So just adding a little bit to that, I'm also looking at the wish list. So it's pretty easy to see what you can. But if you have questions, they can just get a hold of you.
Yep, definitely. Say if you go on our website, you can find our contact information, items of suggested things that could be donated. And if you want to always give us a call. We're happy to answer questions. So we're so thankful to Pinnacle Bank for being the sponsor of our back to school supply drive. So we always, thank our community partners as well for everyone who's getting involved in making this possible.
Yeah. Well, Kelsey, thank you so much for coming on with me. And again, this is July 22nd through August 2nd. And it's just an important way that we can get back to OHB, Omaha Home for Boys, over 100 years of making a difference in the lives of youth in our community. So Kelsey, thank you once again.
Yes, thank you, Andy.